What if the single biggest threat to your health and independence after 60 happens quietly at 2 in the morning, right in your own bedroom? Curious, I am talking about that sudden, urgent need to use the bathroom. Doctors call it nocturia, but for you, it is a sleep-wrecking trap. Every time you wake up to pee, you shatter your deep sleep cycle, the exact time your brain cleans itself to prevent cognitive decline, and your body repairs its aging cells. But the real unspoken danger? Pause, it is pitch black. You are groggy. Your muscles are relaxed. One misjudged step on the way to the bathroom, and a simple annoyance instantly turns into a devastating, life-altering fall. Hi, I am Dr. Anya. You have probably been told that waking up all night is just part of getting older, or that you should simply stop drinking water. They're wrong. Today, I am going to reveal a free, 3-step nightly shutdown protocol to fix the actual biological cause, empty your system completely, and finally let you sleep through the night. When you finally decide you have had enough of this broken sleep, what is the first piece of advice everyone gives you? What do your friends, your magazines, and sometimes even your own doctor tell you to do? Curious, they say, the answer is simple. Just stop drinking water after dinner. Restrict your fluids. Listen to me very carefully. If you're over the age of 60, deliberately restricting your water intake is one of the most dangerous traps you can fall into. Serious. Starving yourself of water is not the answer. In fact, it creates a cascade of new, terrifying health risks. Let's look at the biology of aging. As we get older, our natural thirst mechanism, the signal your brain sends to tell you to drink, becomes blunted. Many adults over 60 are already walking around in a state of chronic, mild dehydration without even realizing it. When you intentionally stop drinking water in the evening to avoid the bathroom, you push your body over the edge into severe dehydration. What happens then? First, your blood volume drops. When your blood volume drops, your blood pressure becomes unstable. Imagine waking up at 2 in the morning, already dehydrated. You sit up on the edge of the bed and stand up. Because you lack fluid, your body cannot pump blood to your brain fast enough. You get a sudden rush of dizziness, what we clinically call orthostatic hypotension. The room spins, your legs buckle, and right there, in the dark, you suffer a catastrophic fall. Second, dehydration severely impacts your brain. Even a 2% drop in your body's water level can trigger sudden confusion, brain fog, and a lack of coordination that mimics severe cognitive decline. You are literally starving your brain tissue of the fluid it needs to function. But here is the most fascinating, counterintuitive biological twist of all. Drinking less water can actually make you pee more often. How is that possible? When you restrict fluids, your kidneys still have to filter waste out of your blood. Because there is very little water to dilute that waste, your urine becomes highly concentrated, dark, and highly acidic. When this harsh, acidic urine enters your bladder, it acts like a chemical irritant. It aggravates the fragile lining of the bladder, causing it to spasm. So, your bladder sounds the alarm and wakes you up with a sudden, uncontrollable urge to go, even if there is only a tiny teaspoon of liquid inside. You are dehydrating yourself, risking a fall, and your bladder is still waking you up. It is a no-win situation. So you finally go to your doctor. You sit in their office, exhausted, and you explain the whole situation. And what do they usually say? They look at your chart, they shrug, and they say, well, you're getting older. It is just a part of getting old. You are just going to have to live with it. I am here to tell you today that this is not a medical answer. That is a medical excuse. Accepting this as just part of getting old is like saying a squeaky, broken door is just a normal part of living in an older house. No, it just means you haven't been handed the right tool, the right oil, or the right biological knowledge to fix the hinge. You do not need to accept exhaustion. You do not need a prescription pill that leaves you feeling hungover and groggy the next day. And you certainly do not need to dehydrate yourself. What you need is a biological system. Today, I am giving you that system. It is a completely free, mechanical checklist I call the Nightly Shutdown Protocol. It is a series of 3 simple, logical steps that use your body's own anatomy and the power of gravity to prepare your system for a long, uninterrupted night of deep sleep. Let's break down the protocol. Think of this nightly shutdown protocol like a pilot's safety checklist before a long flight. You must do the steps in order, and you cannot skip any. Curious. Step number 1 is what I call the gravity flush. And to understand why this is the most powerful tool in your arsenal, we have to talk about a hidden biological trap that almost no one associates with their bladder: your own legs. Thoughtful, all day long, whether you are sitting in a chair reading, standing in the kitchen, or walking around the grocery store, gravity is constantly pulling down on your body. Because of this relentless downward pull, fluid, specifically water from your bloodstream, slowly seeps out of your blood vessels and into the tissues of your lower legs. Think of your calves and your ankles as two massive, dry sponges. Throughout the day, they spend hours quietly soaking up all this excess fluid. In the medical world, we call this peripheral edema, which is just a clinical way of saying fluid retention in the lower extremities. This happens to both men and women, especially as our circulation naturally slows down after the age of 60. You might even notice it when you take your socks off at night and see a red indentation ring around your ankle. Now, think about what happens when you finally get into bed at night. You lie down flat. Suddenly, for the first time in 16 hours, gravity is no longer trapping that fluid down in your feet. The sponges are squeezed. All that trapped, accumulated liquid begins a slow, steady journey back up into your main bloodstream. Your bloodstream carries all of this extra water straight to your kidneys. Your kidneys, doing exactly what they are designed to do, start working overtime to filter it out, turning it into urine. And where does all that sudden urine go? Straight to your bladder. This is the aha moment. You could stop drinking water at 4 p.m., but if your legs are full of fluid, your kidneys are still going to fill your bladder all night long. Your bladder sounds the alarm at 2 a.m., 4 a.m., and 5 a.m., not because of what you drank with dinner, but because of the fluid draining from your legs. So, how do we outsmart this biological trap? We do the gravity flush. Here is exactly what you are going to do tonight. About 90 minutes, an hour and a half, before you plan to go to sleep, I want you to go to your couch or your bed and lie down. Take 2 or 3 firm pillows and place them directly under your feet and calves. The biological goal here is to get your feet elevated significantly higher than the level of your heart. You will know you're in the right position when you feel a very slight, gentle pulling sensation in the back of your legs. And then you do nothing. You just lie there for 20 to 30 minutes. Read a book, watch television, talk with your spouse, or just close your eyes and relax. By doing this 90 minutes before bed, you are taking control of the fluid. You are using gravity to your advantage, pre-draining those sponges while you are still awake. You are telling your body, let's get this fluid processed right now. After 20 or 30 minutes of elevation, you will get up and, before you finally get into bed, you will almost certainly have to use the bathroom. And that is the entire point. You are emptying the tank on your schedule while you are awake instead of the middle of the night. Now, there are 3 common mistakes you must avoid for this to work. First, do not do this 5 minutes before you get into bed. The kidneys need time to process the fluid. You need that full 90-minute window. Second, propping your feet on a low footstool while sitting in a chair is not enough. Your feet must be physically higher than your heart. And third, keep your legs relatively straight. If you bend your knees too much, you create a kink in the hose, blocking the fluid from traveling up. A quick, vital word on safety. For the vast majority of older adults, this is perfectly safe. However, please be cautious and speak to your doctor first if you have severe heart failure and get short of breath when lying flat, if you have been diagnosed with very low blood pressure, or if you have sudden pain, redness, and swelling in only one calf, as that could be a sign of a blood clot. For everyone else, the gravity flush is your first line of defense. But draining the legs is only half the battle. We still have to make sure the main tank is completely empty before your head hits the pillow. So, you have completed the gravity flush. You have spent 20 to 30 minutes processing that extra fluid from your legs. Now it is time for step number 2, which happens right before you climb into bed for the night. Pause. We need to make sure the main tank, your bladder, is absolutely, completely empty. As we cross into our 60s and 70s, a mechanical change happens in the pelvis. For almost everyone, the bladder simply stops emptying 100% on the first try. Curious, a little bit of fluid gets left behind. It might only be an ounce, maybe 30 milliliters, but that tiny amount is enough to act as a trigger, waking you up just a few hours later. Why does this happen? The biology is different for men and women, but the result is exactly the same. For men, the culprit is usually the prostate gland. As you age, the prostate naturally enlarges. Think of your urethra, the tube that urine flows through, as a garden hose. An enlarged prostate presses against that hose, kind of like someone gently stepping on it. This makes it physically difficult to get all the urine out in one steady stream. For women, the culprit is the pelvic floor. After menopause, as estrogen levels drop, the muscles and tissues supporting the bladder become weaker. Often, there is a very mild shift or prolapse of the bladder. It creates a tiny anatomical pocket or a dip where a small pool of urine gets physically trapped, unable to flow out during a normal trip to the bathroom. Whether it is the prostate pressing on the hose or a weakened pelvic floor creating a hidden pocket, we need a mechanical solution to get that last ounce out. I call this step the final system purge. In the medical field, urologists call it double voiding. Here is exactly how to do it tonight. Go to the bathroom as you normally would right before bed. You must sit down on the toilet. This is vital for both men and women. Sitting flat with your feet on the floor is the only way to completely relax the pelvic floor muscles. If you are standing or hovering, your muscles are tense and they will hold on to that fluid. Do not rush. Take your time and empty your bladder. When you think you are completely finished, do not immediately reach for the toilet paper or stand up to leave. I want you to stay sitting for another 20 to 30 seconds. Just relax. Take a few deep breaths. Let your nervous system settle. Next, stand up completely for a moment. Then, immediately sit back down, lean slightly forward, and try to go one more time. You will be absolutely amazed that a little more urine comes out. Why does this work so beautifully? By standing up and sitting back down, you are literally changing the physical position of your bladder and your pelvic organs. For men, you are essentially unkinking that garden hose for a brief moment. For women, you are tipping that hidden pocket of fluid so it can finally drain. Think of it like trying to get the last bit of ketchup out of a glass bottle. You have to turn it upside down, wait a second, and give it a little shake to get that final drop. This is the exact same mechanical principle. There are 3 common mistakes that ruin this technique. First, rushing. We are always in a hurry to get to sleep, so we don't take the extra minute this requires. Second, just shifting your weight side to side while seated. That doesn't work. The actual act of standing up and sitting back down is what repositions the anatomy. And third, pushing or straining. This must be a relaxed process. If you push or strain, your pelvic muscles immediately tighten up like a clenched fist, and you will trap the urine inside. So, we have drained the legs with the gravity flush, and we have fully emptied the tank with the final system purge. We are almost there. We just need the final step to guarantee a dry, uninterrupted night. So, we have drained the legs, and we have fully emptied the tank. But the third and final step is just as critical as the first 2. It is pure, biological logic. You cannot effectively drain a system if you continue to pour liquid into it right before you shut it down. Curious, step number 3 is the intake valve shutdown. Notice I did not say water restriction. I said valve shutdown. This step is all about being incredibly smart with when and what you drink. Thoughtful. First, let's talk about the big picture strategy. The battle for a dry, uninterrupted night actually begins in the morning. Here is a powerful rule to live by. You must try to consume about 75%, 3/4 of your total daily fluids before the middle of the afternoon. This includes your water, your morning coffee, your juice, and even the broth in your soup. You need to front-load your hydration. Think of your body like a busy factory. You want to get most of your raw materials delivered during the busy day shift when your metabolism is running at full speed and you are upright. You do not want a massive delivery dumped at the front gate right before the night shift comes on to clean up. Now, for the evening rule. Many outdated articles will tell you to stop drinking all liquids for 4 hours before bed. For an adult over 60, that is simply too long and too uncomfortable. We are going to use a smarter, safer approach. To begin, I want you to set a simple starting goal. No significant liquids for the 2 hours right before you get into bed. A small sip of water to swallow your evening medication is perfectly fine, but no full glasses of anything. Try this 2-hour window for 1 week. If you find you are sleeping soundly through the night, congratulations. 2 hours is your magic biological number. However, if you are still waking up, I want you to gradually increase that window. Next week, try 2.5 hours. If you still need a little more improvement, push it to 3 hours. The goal is to find the shortest effective time that works for your specific body without making you feel thirsty. But timing is only half the equation. During those evening hours before your fluid curfew begins, you absolutely must avoid what I call bladder agitators. These are coffee, black tea, alcohol, especially beer or wine with dinner, and all sodas or carbonated waters. Why are these so destructive? Think of caffeine as a foreman yelling at your kidneys to work twice as fast, creating a sudden rush of urine. Think of alcohol as a double whammy. It speeds up your kidneys while simultaneously disabling the natural biological brakes that usually slow down urine production at night. And carbonated drinks? The bubbles are direct chemical irritants that make your bladder lining twitchy and hypersensitive. Avoiding these agitators in the evening is non-negotiable if you want to sleep. So there you have it, the complete 3-step nightly shutdown protocol. Number 1, the gravity flush. Legs up on the couch for 20 minutes, 90 minutes before bed. Number 2, the final system purge. The double voiding technique right before you get into bed. Number 3, the intake valve shutdown. Front-load your fluids and start a 2-hour evening curfew. Now, I do not want you to feel overwhelmed. Reassuring, we are changing decades of biological habits here. So, here's your simple plan for the first week. For the first 2 days, Monday and Tuesday, focus only on step 3. Just get your fluid timing right. On Wednesday and Thursday, continue with your fluid timing, but add in step 1, the gravity flush on the couch. Then, on Friday, Saturday, and Sunday, implement the full 3-step protocol by adding the double void. This is not a magic pill. It is a biological system that requires consistency. The first night, you might see a small improvement. The second night, maybe a little more. Your body is learning a completely new rhythm. You have to give it time. But I promise you, if you stick with this protocol for 1 full week, you will be amazed at the difference. I want you to make a commitment to yourself today, a commitment to reclaiming your deep sleep, your daytime energy, and your physical safety from midnight falls. I want you to try this protocol, and I want you to come back to this video in 1 week and share your results in the comments section below. Your success story might be the exact inspiration another person needs to finally stop suffering in silence. Let's create a community of adults who refuse to accept exhaustion as a normal part of aging. Type "I am taking back my sleep" in the comments right now to make your vitality pledge. If this masterclass opened your eyes to how your body really works, please hit the like button and subscribe to Dr. Anya Health 60+. It tells the algorithm that this is vital medical information, helping us reach others who are secretly terrified of losing their independence. You have the knowledge. You have the biological tools. Now it is time to put it into action. Take care of your body, sleep well tonight, and I will see you in our next video.